I have owned the Blackmagic Pocket 6K for over 4 years now, but just last year I ended up buying a Sony FX30 for a few of the features that I will mention later on in this video. But to answer the question that you came here for, which one of these budget cinema cameras is the best budget camera for this year, and which one should you guys buy? So just some general knowledge, both of these cameras are cinema cameras and they are made to be used for video, not photography. So if you clicked on this video for a photography camera, you are in the wrong place. So with that out of the way, let's put these things head to head first on the specifications that both of these cameras have to offer. Now the FX30 is an APS-C camera. It offers 4K to up to 120 frames per second. It's going to offer 14 stops of dynamic range, and it does have full autofocus capabilities in the camera. Moving into the Blackmagic Pocket 6K, you're gonna have the ability to shoot 6K, not 4K, at up to 50 frames per second, 4K at 60 frames per second, and then at 2.8K at 120 frames per second. You're only gonna be getting 13 stops of dynamic range on this one. It is also an APS-C Super 35 sensor. However, this one does not offer autofocus. And the last thing I want to mention in terms of the specifications is going to be the price point. So you can pick up a brand new FX30 for around $1,800, and you can pick up the Pocket 6K Pro brand new for around $2,500. Now, with that all being said, I did buy this Pocket 6K for about $1,400 on the secondary market, so it's definitely possible to pick one of these things up at a similar price point to the FX30. So moving on to probably the most important part to most, I want to go over the image quality of both of these cameras. In terms of resolution, the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro definitely offers a sharper image, as it is 6K, which is obviously a lot more than 4K. It definitely provides more detail, and as you guys can see, looking between both of the cameras, you can definitely see the look of the image just looks a lot more professional, at least in my opinion, on the Blackmagic compared to the FX30. Now guys, not to say that the FX30 does not have an extremely beautiful looking image. Don't let that completely throw you off, but it definitely is apparent that the look of the Blackmagic definitely looks better, at least to my eyes. It's also important to note that you're able to shoot in a format called B-RAW on the Blackmagic, whereas to shooting on an FX30, you're gonna be stuck with S-Log3. And let me tell you guys, and when it comes to playing with the exposure levels in post-production, guys, I absolutely love B-RAW. It's very close to manipulating raw footage. And the easiest way to explain this to somebody who's not familiar with it, as it's very similar to a raw image when taking a photo. So obviously when you're editing that raw photo, you have much more capabilities and you can just push things way more than a regular JPEG. It's pretty much the same thing with raw video. Now again, B-RAW is not actually raw video, it's their version of it, but yeah, it's just a lot more powerful in my opinion than S-Log3. Again, not to say that S-Log3 is not a bad codec, it's just that there's a bit more abilities and performance in the B-RAW when it comes to color grading. So to sum it up, yeah, the image just looks a lot better on the Blackmagic, so that's pretty much the end of the video. Because why does any of the other stuff matter other than the image quality? Well, let me go over all of the other items that I actually think the FX3 is probably going to beat this camera on, and then you guys can make up your own decision which one is the clear winner. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, we went over autofocus and the fact that the Blackmagic doesn't have autofocus. The FX30 does. And when it comes to shooting run and gun shoots, social media shoots, anything where like I don't want to have to be pulling focus the entire time, guys, this thing just gets the job done significantly better. And it's important to note that, you know, if you don't have autofocus, you're going to have to be pulling autofocus whenever you're going to shoot. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but when it comes to getting the job done, I prefer autofocus. Of course, everybody has their own opinions, but that's just me. Additionally, the size of this thing is like half the size or pretty close to half the size of the Blackmagic. So again, for running around and shooting on the go, It just makes your life a lot easier. In addition, because you're only going to be able to shoot S-Log rather than B-RAW, the file sizes are going to be significantly smaller. If you're taking advantage of the B-RAW and the 6K capabilities of the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro, you're going to be filling up memory cards extremely fast, and you're most likely going to have to be shooting on an SSD external hard drive. On average, the shoots that I do with my Blackmagic take up about 500 gigabytes of space compared to shooting on my FX30. It's only taking around 50 gigabytes of space. So you are literally looking at a 10x different on storage space. And then moving into the battery life, guys, if you know anything about Blackmagic, the battery life on all of their Pocket series cameras is just absolutely awful. It's only going to catch you about 10 minutes, so you're probably going to need to mount this thing up to some sort of V-mount to be able to not have to switch a battery every 5 minutes. Again, compared to the FX30, the batteries last around 30 minutes to an hour, straight up shooting 4K, so yeah, that's another plus on the FX30. So autofocus, storage, and battery life, they all go to the FX30. Now, another important thing I wanted to go over was the menu systems of both of these cameras. After years of shooting on the A7S III, the FX3, and now this FX30, I finally feel pretty comfortable with the Sony menu system, but I still find myself from time to time needing to do something that I don't normally do, and it just takes way too long because Sony is known to have a lot of confusing menu systems. Compared to the Blackmagic, it's actually relatively simple, and if you have any basic film knowledge, you'll pretty much be able to see everything that you need within 3 or 4 clicks away. And I remember the first time filming on the Blackmagic, I literally figured out the menu system within like 10 minutes of using it. So I'm going to give a win to the Blackmagic in this section. And yeah, let me know what you guys think in terms of the menu systems on those cameras. So with that all being said, which camera is for who? And who is for which camera? Well, I definitely have to say that, of course, the Blackmagic has a much better image quality. Not so much better that you can't use the FX30, but it's definitely better, at least in my personal opinion. The only problem that I have with the Blackmagic for a lot of filmmakers out there is that, again, it doesn't have autofocus, and it probably is going to work best rigging this thing out with a V-mount battery and a huge SSD. So a lot of times it might not be worth it for the type of shoots that you're doing. To the contrary, the FX30 is extremely tiny. You can pretty much slap a lens on there, be ready to go, have no issue with the battery or external storage, and of course have autofocus. So to summarize and conclude this video, I'd say that if you're looking to shoot more higher commercial shoots where you have maybe more than yourself shooting, you have more time to plan, you're trying to go for a cinema look and take your time with every single shot, then guys, by no means go ahead and move forward with the Blackmagic Pocket 6K Pro. However, if you are looking to get something that has autofocus, that is more of a rapid shooter and that can help you with shoots like social media shoots, YouTube videos, shoots on the go, things where time has a pretty big impact on your job and getting things done on a quick note, I definitely go with the FX30. But to finish it off, guys, I love both of these cameras, and I think that you can't go wrong with either option in the budget filmmaking world. You're gonna get a beautiful image for years to come. And as I said earlier in the video, I've used both of these cameras for years. So yeah, let me know down in the comments below which camera makes more sense for you. And if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, guys, peace out.
Until I learn to breathe, it don't matter if it takes a little longer, if it means going back to the start.